Hello guys, and this is TheRussianGenius, and this is going to be about the ambitious card. So I want to share with you my ideas on the ambitious card and why to do this and why not to do the other thing that other magicians they do. So this is going to be my experience, and let's just talk about the ambitious card. So as you can see, this is a deck which has been used very much, and I do not have all the cards in this deck, but that does not matter. And some of the cards, they are already signed inside the deck, because I do use this deck for ambitious card sometimes. Now the idea is the spectator picks a card, and sometimes I force a card on the spectator. Sometimes I actually like to do the classic force. The classic force and the dribble force is the only force that I use. I also use a force that I made up that I'm not going to be showing in this video, but still the classic force and the dribble force are the only two forces I use. So let's say I want to force the 7 of hearts. I usually put few cards on top of the 7, and then I ask the spectator to pick a card. And if the spectator picks the 7, wait, sorry for that. I got the break the wrong place. So if the spectator picks the 4 of hearts, once the spectator is looking at the 4, then I look away. When I look away, then the spectator looks at me and they think, why is he looking away? And when I am looking away, I tell the spectator, think of the card, and when they're thinking of the card, I name the card. And the spectator freaks out. And when they freak out, I try to tell the spectator that the 4 of hearts has a connection with the spectator, and then I ask them to write their name on the card. I tell them that they need to write their name on the card because, one, so they do not think I have duplicates, and I know that this sounds weird, but I actually do tell the spectator that people think that I have 2 4 of hearts or more. So I tell the spectator to write their name so the card is unique, and so the card represents the spectator. So the spectator writes something on the card. I am going to write my name. And by the way, if you don't know what my name is Vladimir. It is Vladimir Jenko. That is my full name, Vladimir Jenko. And there I wrote my signature on the card. And when the spectator has written their signature, I take the card from the spectator and I place it on top of the deck. Then I ask the spectator to close the Sharpie. So the Sharpie is opened, I take the card and I tell them, can you put the tip back on the Sharpie? As you can see, I just switched the card. So once again, just like that. I switched the card. This is the Stuart Gordon second deal. And this is not so difficult to do. I am gonna make a tutorial on this. So I take the card and I get a pinky break. So I get a pinky break, I take the card, I tell them, can you place the tip back on the Sharpie? So they do it, and then while they're doing it, I do the Stuart Gordon second deal, and then I tell them, okay, so you signed a card and you signed the 4 of hearts with your signature. And that's what I do. So the idea why I do a second deal and then place the card back on top, it is so it is second from the top. And a lot of people, they might ask, why not just do a top change and place it in the middle of the deck? I do not like it because I would rather say put it back on the Sharpie and then tell them, okay, you have done it, and then do a double lift to show them that I have not switched the card, if they think that I have switched it or not. So I do this double lift, I place it in the middle, and then I tell them, can you snap your fingers? They snap their fingers, and when they snap their fingers, I say, wow, a lot of people, they actually can't snap their fingers, and then I say a joke about it. So that gets a little laugh, you know, it's not magic, but it's just funny. Then I tell them, okay, I am going to push the card all the way inside the middle of the deck. Since the card has a connection with you, every time you snap, the card jumps all the way to the top, alright? Try to snap. they snap, the card jumps all the way to the top. And I tried to flip the card slowly, and I tried to build a big climax in the beginning. So once the card is about the middle, this is not their card. Once the card is right here, and I tell them, look, when you snap your fingers, your card actually jumps all the way to the top. They snap, okay, look, your card jumps all the way to the top, something like that. And then they react, they laugh, they react, and once they're looking, I tell them, but look, this is your card. And when I'm looking at them, I'm looking them in the eyes, and when they look back, I actually do a top change. This top change, this is a very good top change, and it is explained by David Williamson very good. I do not do this like this, I do this actually differently. I tell them, look, this is your card, right? And then I do the top change. Now, once I have done the top change, I actually place the card back in this position, and then I tell them, but look, if I snap, as you can see, nothing happens. Alright? Nothing happens. Now you try to snap. Alright? And then I show them that the card jumps to the top. And now I do this. This is kind of different. I ask them to hold their hand up. So I tell them, can you just open your hand just like that, flat? Yeah, just like that. Take about half of the deck. I did a top change. Take about half of the deck. They take half of the pack. I tell them, place the rest on top. Try to snap once again. Now look, take the card and turn it over. They freak out at this moment. They really do freak out at this specific moment. And then I do this. I tell them, look, your card, 4 of hearts. I'm going to place it about the middle. Can you hold this packet for me? And then I ask them to hold the packet, and once the spectator is holding the packet, then, like, let's say the spectator is holding the packet right now, right? So once they're holding the packet, I tell them, look, snap. Your card jumps all the way to the top. But wait, is this the top? Or is that the top? Wait, it can't happen, can it? It can't be true. And I tell them, no, look, is this the top or is that the top? Wait, it's not even possible, is it? And then I look through the deck and I'm like, wait, did the card really disappear? Did the card really disappear from the deck? Because that would be impossible. So that is what I do. And the spectator has the deck, they flip the card over and they see that their card jumped all the way to the top. Then I like to do the card to mouth. You know, this is very simple. I tell them, now look, you push the card all the way inside the deck, and then I place the card inside my mouth. Then they can see that the card is inside my mouth, so I take it out, and now I try to do it in reverse. So I take the card and put it upside down. I tell them, look, if I take your card and place it upside down inside the deck. So first few times I actually do it really, and then I tell the spectator that it is impossible to do so. And while I have misdirection, I get ready for the Marlowe tilt, and then I tell them, okay, look, let's still try it out, but this seems to be very impossible. But look, if we snap, it jumps all the way second from the top. That is the only way it can be done. Now look, let me show you this one more time, alright? Your card goes somewhere around the center of the packet, and as you can see, just like that. And I think I failed, actually. No, it jumps all the way second from the top. Why I thought I failed is because I thought I did the control the bad way. And sometimes I like to throw in a little pass. I tell them, look, your card jumps to the top. This is really weird how it just jumps to the top, just like this, as you can see. It can also be done differently, but look, if we really place the card in the middle, alright, so right now it is actually in the middle of the packet. Now look, just like that, it jumps all the way to the top, your selection. Now that was impressive, right? But it can be done in very many different ways. Like for instance, if you take the card with your fingertips, they take it, they place it in the middle right here. I give them the deck, they push it all the way in themselves, they snap, and in their hands it jumps to the top. That is the idea of the ambitious card that I do. I like that way. It seems to work for me. Every time I do the ambitious card, I actually improvise, and that is something that works a lot in my opinion. It is to improvise. Here is something that I also like about the ambitious card. So while I'm talking and stuff, I do the top chains once again, and sometimes I do fail when doing the top chains. Like right now, I did fail when I was doing the top chains. If I'm performing and I do fail and this happens, then I just wait a second and then I do the Stuart Gordon second deal instead of the top chains. But let's say I am doing some magic and sometimes I do this in my ambitious card. I talk to the spectator and tell them, like, your card, alright? So like I am going to place it around the center of the packet. Now this time you're going to snap, not now, but later on. So like 3 of clubs, alright? Try to snap, and they snap their fingers. So look, your card jumps all the way to the top, alright? But wait, is this the top, or is this the top? Wait, this was the 3 of clubs, right? And your card was the 4 of hearts. Something like that. And sometimes in my ambitious card routine, I like to do this. I have the card, the selected card on top, and I shuffle it about the center. Actually, I like to shuffle it about the bottom, because most people, they go for the bottom card. If you spread to the bottom, then they go for the bottom. So I tell the spectator, just point at a card. And then the spectator points at a card, and I tell them, okay, they point at this one and this is their card, but they do not know that they pointed at their card. So when they point at this card, I tell them, okay, now look, you point at this card. Now look, one card out of all the cards, you pointed at your selection. Let's take a look. 4 of hearts, your selection. Now that gets a lot of reactions. Now let's say the spectator does not point at the card. So let's say that you shuffle it about the center and the spectator does not point at the card. What do you do? So let's say that you go through the card and they point at this one. So I tell them, okay, look, you pointed at this card, right? Now let's take a look. This is not your card. But look, if you snap, try to snap your fingers, alright? So they snap their fingers while I'm shaking, and the card changes. So in speed it will look like this. Just like that. And I can give them the card. And I have palmed the other card. That is also something that I do, not always, but if I'm performing for drunk spectators, then why not do it? But actually, this is very visual. If you just do this, then it looks very good. But if you do this when they snap, then it looks like the card changes once they're snapping. And a good way to do this, it is, do not do this from this angle. Why? It is because they can sometimes see the card actually turning over. That is why you're not supposed to do this from this angle. If you really want to do this, then try doing this from this angle where your wrist is blocking their view. Because look, if you block the wrist for a moment, if you block with the wrist and then do it, look how good it looks like. That looks really, really good in my opinion. And you know, there are many ways of changing the card, but that is how I prefer to do so. Now, once again, so let's say if the spectator snaps and then you do this half a second after the snap, because when you're performing you do not know when the spectator snaps. So let's say that the spectator snaps when you're doing this, alright? So you do this and they snap, and then you do this half a second after the snap. And why I say half a second after the snap, it is because you don't know when they snap, so it is like a surprise. And because you cannot do this right when they snap, because you do not know when they snap. So when the spectator snaps, then it changes. Even if this happens a second after the spectator snaps, it still looks very good. So look, you do this, they snap, and then it changes a second after the snap. That still looks very good in my opinion, and that can still fool a lot of spectators. But anyways guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I bought new lights, so I hope that you enjoy it. But anyways guys, thanks a lot for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. As always, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you don't know, I have Facebook and Instagram. If you want to check out my Facebook, feel free to do so. If you want to check out my Instagram, feel free to do so as well. You can decide if you want to like my Facebook or my Instagram, or both. You can decide. There are going to be more giveaways in the future, so there are going to be a lot of stuff happening on this channel. But few people, they have asked me if they can donate to my channel, and of course they can if they want to, but I told them that I am making a website. I am going to put products on Vimeo Pro, and people that want to support this channel, they can buy products from Vimeo Pro, and then they can support this channel by buying products. And that is the way I want people to support me, by buying products that they like. So that is a win-win for them, and then they also support this channel for more quality tutorials. So that is going to be something in the future. And the products, they are not going to be expensive. They're going to cost $5, sometimes $10, but not more than $15. So there is a price range, $5, even $2 sometimes. And still, I'm going to be posting tutorials on this channel. So anyways guys, I really hope you enjoy this. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and see ya in my next tutorial.